Planet Zoo has kind of entered that little bit of time where in between DLCs we get this little bit of a dead zone. One of the things I really start to notice about these is that oftentimes people will really start to speculate when the next DLC is going to come, and I just wanted to really sit down with all of you guys and kind of talk about where Planet Zoo has to go from here, what we know about what's going to come from the next DLC, and so on and so forth. So as always, this is all pretty much speculation, and take everything I say with a grain of salt, because Frontier has never been really known for their patterns. They can always surprise us all the way around the corners. So with that all being said, I want to talk about when the next DLC will come. Now, I know people are starting to feel a little bit antsy to get a new one coming, like we're kind of had our fill of the Europe pack. We've kind of made all of our habitats for our animals. Don't even look at Tiergarten with the fallow deer. I have not worked on that just yet. But moving on from there, I do want to address the fact that we're not really going to be looking for a DLC in February. It's going to be more so towards mid to late March. If we actually look at the cycles, I know I just said let's not look too far into them, but if we do use them as a general time frame, Frontier will probably release the first trailer to these DLCs, well, not multiple DLCs, it's just going to be one, around mid to late March. Back in South America, we did get it for the 31st, as well as the 18th, for the Southeast Asia DLC. It's been so long since that. That is wild to me. But I know what most people are probably questioning, more so than the time frame itself, is what this actual mystery DLC will be. Now, we've kind of run through all of the continents. We've had our North America, South America, Europe, Africa, and even Asia DLCs. That is pretty much all the main ones. I think, did I say Australia? I probably did, but I'm going to throw it in there. But we're kind of in this no man's zone right now. So we honestly got to look at what we have in our hands right now and really hypothesize what all of these puzzle pieces can really mean. Now, what we already know from the leaks that did emerge from the modding server a little while ago, were the capybara signs and Lord Howe Island stick insect signs. These are essentially prop files that were found in the files by other modders, and it's essentially implied that these would have animals to go alongside these, but we can honestly look at some other things in regards to this. For example, these ones were only found after the North America DLC did emerge. They were not found in the files previous to that, so it is to be implied that, you know, they were working on these, or they might have slipped back in after a previous update, because as we do know, we did get a South America and Australia DLC in the past, and these animals could have been easily replaced in here. I'm personally offended that the capybara could ever be replaced, but you know, you gotta weigh out your options and stuff like that. We also did find some more East Asia props that we don't normally have in the game. This kind of concerned the likes of the Zen Pebbles, which we do know were scrapped from all the way back in development for the beta, believe it or not, as well as some other Torii Gate kind of items. But again, these could also be scrap props. But what is to be looked at, though, are the European props. This is what I feel like really starts to tell, like, the validity of these. So the European props were found in the files back in the North America DLC, and they matched up perfectly. We got every single prop that was to be expected within there, which leads to some very interesting conclusions. Another thing that I want to lay down on the ground before we actually get into the actual possibilities is Zoo Tycoon Theory. So I know you guys may have heard this on the forums, you guys may have heard this on the Discord servers, you guys may have heard this in Nick's videos. I know he likes to talk about it a lot, but I just want to talk about it with you guys, all my buddies out there. Zoo Tycoon Theory essentially states that Planet Zoo is kind of replicating the rosters of Zoo Tycoons in the past. Since it is a zoo simulation game, they would obviously look to their predecessors in terms of what they would include. Now, obviously, it's not one-to-one. We've had some very, I would say, questionable replacements. We did get, recently, in the European DLC, the Ibex and the Eurasian Lynx. And if we actually look back at Zoo Tycoon did have the normal Ibex, not the Alpine Ibex, but it was just normal Ibex. And we also did have the Spanish lynx in Zoo Tycoon 2, which is very interesting because they actually did switch it out for a more feasible animal, a lot more realistic, because Iberian lynxes aren't really found worldwide. So that is something to look into. Again, Zoo Tycoon Theory does hold up with the rest of them. If we look back at the Africa DLC, we did get meerkats, we did get white rhinos, we did get, in the aquatic DLC, we got penguins, which is a good replacement for the Emperor Penguin, King Penguin, Emperor Penguin, kind of the same thing. It's a lot more realistic to have king penguins anyways, so this is a little bit of a theory that, you know, it can be molded to however you see it. I just think it's very important to look at the Zoo Tycoon roster and really emphasize what we are missing from there. Now, going on from there, we actually need to address the possibilities of what can come in the next DLCs. Number one on the list, which I feel like a lot of people tend to think about, is a non-geographical Rainforest DLC. Now, this is probably lower on my list because I don't see Frontier giving up the geographic DLC format just yet. I know we did get the aquatic one, which was more of a feature focus rather than area focused. So that is something I will talk about in our last one over here. But the Rainforest DLC, why people think this, is the Lord Howe Island stick insect and the capybara signs. Mostly because these both do come from more tropical areas of the world, and it would be a really great way to expand the roster in terms of tropical species. This could possibly be a way for us to get gibbons, it could possibly be a way for us to get capybaras, it could be a way for us to get even more primates. It's a very interesting thing happening right there, but I'm not really too keen on that. What I am very interested in is a prospect of an endangered species DLC. This one is a little bit more interesting because it does follow Zoo Tycoon Theory pretty well, and it would be a really great way to get the Lord Howe Island stick insects in, as well as matching up with Zoo Tycoon Theory. This one's very interesting because it's just a really great homage to a really wonderful game that so many people in this community do have fond memories of, and getting a lot more worldwide representation, as well as focusing on that education and conservation message that Frontier does like to push. I find that very interesting. But moving on from there, we also have the Greater Asian DLC. This one I feel very strongly towards because it feels like the most realistic thing that we could possibly get within the game in now this current lifespan. We did get the Southeast Asian DLC, don't get me wrong, but if we get a General Asian or Greater Asian DLC, that leads into so many different things for Zoo Tycoon Theory, as well as, you know, some of the other things that we talked about in the past. I think it would be a wonderful lead-in for Przewalski's Wild Horse, gibbons, and other stuff like that. There are so many wonderful animals located in Asia that we don't really have just yet that I feel like would make a wonderful staple in here. We might even be able to get dromedary camels because the Middle East does technically count itself as Asia. So I think that would be a wonderful way to get so many people, so many different animals that we all really would appreciate. And of course, we have to talk about the Aviary DLC. So I mentioned before that the whole mechanics-based DLCs, such as the Aquatic Pack, which introduced deep diving, as well as a plethora of different changes when it came to this system, it really changed the game. And they really didn't want to focus on a single region for these animals, even though most of them did come from South America. It was essentially South America Part 2. But what I really want to focus on for the Aviary DLC, I don't really see it happening anytime soon. I think in the summer it might be more possible. It may be our summer DLC. I don't really see it as a spring DLC. But if we do get the possibility of this, we wouldn't get animals from a centralized area. I am so sorry to our Southeast Birds of Quebec fans out there. We won't be getting that one if it's an entirely new mechanic. But this one would concern the likes of getting a variety of different animals from all around the globe. And I think that's a lot more realistic to be expected when it comes to a DLC like this. I don't really see this happening sometime soon, because if you guys have noticed the Jurassic World Evolution 2 aviary mechanics, they really aren't the best. Animals fly out all the time, they glitch out. I think it'll take a little bit more time in the oven for them to actually work out the aviary mechanic. It just needs a little bit more time in the oven until it's ready to be pushed out for the rest of the people out there. But that's what I think. Obviously, I'm just one person. I don't really know too much much. Listen, guys, I don't know anything, believe it or not. So I just want to talk with you guys. I want to hear what you guys have to say. What do you guys think about this? What do you guys think Frontier's next move is going to be? I am very much curious to hear what you guys all have to say when it comes to all this stuff. I always do love this speculation kind of thing that I do with you guys, because it's a really fun video format for me to do with all of you guys. It's just really fun. I love it. But obviously, we're in the middle of nowhere right now, so anywhere we go is going to be really interesting. So I just want to hear from you guys. If you guys aren't already active on the forums, definitely go to the forums because they're doing such wonderful things. I'm recording this like, you know, a few hours after the whole community stream that happened today. Elton's doing a wonderful job for those. Those come out every Tuesday. If you guys aren't part of those, I highly suggest doing so. And yeah, just show your love to the Frontier team. They're doing some wonderful things. And all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you guys all stopping by. As always, be sure to subscribe if you aren't already so we could all stay up to date with the latest, you know, Planet Zoo, Frontier, simulation genre news and all that jazz. But all that being said, I'm out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and have the most wonderful of wonderful days. Bye-bye now.